Creative freedom. Does it really exist, or is it just a lie we tell ourselves while we make compromises to satisfy the needs of a customer-driven market? One thing's for sure, that the more creative I try to get and the more quality I try to bring into my videos, that the more work it creates and the bigger a mess I create to deal with all this stuff between videos. So before every video, I've got to set everything up, and after every video, I've got to tear everything down. So after spending almost 3 days working on the last video project here in the blacksmith shop, I still have all the tripods and the lights and all that kind of stuff out, and I need to get all this stuff put away so I can do some actual blacksmithing work in the shop. So pardon me if I do a little work while we talk about creative freedom. Now, I think in an ideal world, what creative freedom means, to me anyways, is that you get to make whatever you want to make. Whether you're working in a blacksmith shop, whether you're making YouTube videos, you're a musician making music, you're a painter, sculptor, ceramics artist, you're weaving, you're knitting, whatever it is, you get to do whatever you want to make, and who cares if anybody else likes it? And that is one of the keys to the whole conundrum. If you are only creating for yourself and it doesn't matter if anybody else likes the work that you're creating, then you get to make whatever you want. You get to do it however you feel like doing it. And if it's oddball colors that people don't like, if your video's out of focus, if the audio's not perfect, but you're happy with it, then you have a certain amount of creative freedom. But as soon as we start trying to satisfy other people, whether it's making things for family members, even if there isn't some sort of a profit motive, but mostly if you're making things for customers that you're hoping will give you some money to finance your creativity so you can keep creating things, you kind of got to sacrifice a little bit to make what they want you to make, even if it isn't exactly what you want to make. And I find this to be true in all of my creative endeavors, which right now are mostly video production and blacksmithing. I suppose if I was just making things for myself, I probably wouldn't worry about all the lighting and the audio stuff and multiple cameras. Maybe I would, maybe I wouldn't. But to a large degree, I do all this and take all this extra time to make a better product for the people who are consuming that product. Even if they aren't actually paying me, the people watching my videos here on YouTube are a consumer of a product that I am making. And once you've identified that there's somebody consuming the product that you're making, you have to kind of work with what they want to see. Even if you're just making a home movie of your grandkid's birthday party, you want to make something that the rest of the family is going to actually want to watch, instead of just telling you, oh, yeah, that's great, and then turning it off as soon as your back is turned. I'll tell you what, this C-stand or Century stand is one of the best purchases I made as far as lighting. This is way better than all the other cheap light stands. Part of me would like to leave all this stuff out all the time and leave it more as a video production studio, so I don't have to do all this. This probably adds 2 or 3 hours every time I make a video, getting stuff out, setting it up, dealing with all the equipment that I've ended up using over the years. But the other part of me wants to leave the blacksmith shop as much of a blacksmith shop as I possibly can, even though there are certain things that have changed over the years and other things that are certainly going to change as I continue to make videos. I'm going to do something with some of these doors and windows so they don't present quite so much glare in the background. Because my guess is right now, the window is bright and my face is probably in the dark. And even if I feel like that's a really cool view of the scene and I like that and I think there's some sort of dramatic effect happening there, it doesn't really matter what I think if it turns off the viewers and people decide, I don't want to watch your video because I can't see your face and I'm tired of looking at that really bright window in the back. And that's where you have to sort of sacrifice some of what you feel is creative freedom for what the consumer of your product actually wants to see. Nor do you want to look at my backside while I do this stuff, even though that is the reality of what I am doing, is that I'm turning around and I'm working there and I'm working over here. Nobody really wants to see it that way. So even if I wanted to present that reality, I probably don't really have the creative freedom to do it that way. One of these days I got to spend some more time cleaning the shop because it's starting to pile up a little bit, and I definitely need to figure out where some of this junk goes. I have, however, recently changed this cabinet over from a place to store tools and materials to a place that just stores video equipment. And that way, when the occasional bird gets into the shop, I'm way less likely to have bird poop all over my lights, my light stands, and various things of that nature. So now, what brings up this topic of creative freedom? What put this bug in my mind? Well, I got to do a little bit of a backstory for that and explain some thought processes that I've been going through for, probably over a year now. Also got to put some air in this skid steer tire, which one of these days I'm just going to have a tube put in it because I'm getting tired of always putting air in it. So at some point while I'm watching YouTube videos, somebody talks about stock footage. Now, if you're not familiar with the term stock footage or stock video, stock photography, it's when people create things that they then sell to somebody else to use in their own project. If you've seen video advertising on television or in front of YouTube videos or something that show a whole lot of scenes taken in different places in different environments, maybe it's a video commercial for a sports drink or something like that, and they've got people in kayaks and skydiving and mountain biking and rock climbing and all these action scenes that are all taken someplace different, chances are the person that made that commercial did not take all that footage. It was probably stock footage, something somebody else took, put on the internet, and they bought that video footage for some amount of money so they could use it in their commercial. Probably the only part of that they actually shot themselves was whoever their main actor is taking that final sip of that energy drink. So stock footage can be pretty popular. You see it in news clips, you see it in corporate videos. Lots of places people use stock footage. Even YouTube creators will sometimes use stock footage to get a point across or fill in some gaps that they didn't have footage for. But after that first introduction to what it was and kind of thought about it a little bit, I didn't really do much with it. I didn't think too much about it. And later I hear more about it, and later you hear a little bit more about it. So I went to one of these stock footage sites, and I just wanted to see what they had about blacksmithing. And there was very little, and what they had really wasn't very good. There was one image that says blacksmith's tongs on a rack or something like that. And here's this nice video showing this rack of blacksmithing tongs, we'll use air quotes here, that were really just a bunch of pliers with plastic dipped handles on it, and there wasn't a single pair of actual blacksmithing tongs in there. So I started thinking, I think I can do better than that. I can probably make better stock footage. And I started seeing videos talking about a specific stock footage service. Now this isn't actually a company that sells stock footage, but they kind of broker stock footage to the companies who do sell it. And by doing that, they have a larger volume and can get better rates. And it seemed like it might be a good idea. So I signed up for their service. And when you sign up, they say, well, you need to make sure you read our user guide. You need to watch these videos on what we expect. You need to do this. You need to do that. You need to join our Facebook group. So if you have questions, you ask the questions there. And the whole time they're talking about creative freedom. They're really pumping you up, saying you get to create what you want to create. You don't have any bosses. You don't have any clients. It's just you, your camera. You go out and do what you want to do. But on the other hand, you got to read this user guide and you got to make it the way we want it made. You got to check these check boxes. It's got to meet our formats. It's got to meet our criteria. And don't waste our time uploading things that nobody wants to buy. Because this company really is the boss, and the people who might be buying this stock footage really are the clients that you're dealing with. And because of that, I started realizing this notion that I have total creative freedom when I'm working with that system is probably not really the truth. Now, the Facebook group for this particular company really likes to throw out that idea of creative freedom, that you're working for yourself, you don't have any bosses. But the whole thing is then overshadowed by this notion that you got to be exactly what they want you to be, and that if you're not creating what's popular, you're not going to sell any videos. So you have to always be in mind of what the current trends are and what people are actually looking for. You know, so in 2020, there's a lot of current events that would be popular that have nothing to do with blacksmithing, which is what I would like to create stock video of. So I got a little bit tired of the double message and a little bit of hypocrisy that they have. And I have never actually loaded any stock video for them to try and sell. I don't know if I do well with it or not. And I understand it really is business driven. It is customer driven. It is client driven. You have to create what's going to sell. If your quality isn't there, if your content isn't what people want, you're not going to sell anything. It's just the fact that they try and make you believe that you have total creative freedom when really you don't. Now, I have uploaded some stock video to some other places, and I haven't actually sold anything, but they didn't strike me as being some sort of online Amway thing where you make everybody feel really good and make a product so we can make money off of you. They're pretty straightforward and honest about what sells, what doesn't. So I just feel like that's a little bit more straightforward way to do it. I may go back to this other company at some point, but so far I haven't. So I have certainly realized that creative freedom has its limits, its compromises, if you're trying to use your creative outlet as a way to earn a living. Now, if you're lucky enough that you can afford to do whatever it is that you like to do to be creative, and it doesn't matter if anybody likes it, doesn't matter if it ever sells, you're not going to craft shows, you're not making videos on YouTube that you're hoping gather a big audience, it really doesn't matter. You get to create whatever you want and you get to have fun doing it. And in one way, I'm kind of envious of that position. But in my case, I am in a position where the only way I get to do these things that I really enjoy, blacksmithing, some woodworking, working around my property here, making YouTube videos about all that stuff, is to try and be aware of what the viewers of the videos, what the customers for the blacksmith shop actually want me to do and what they're actually willing to spend their time or their money to consume. Now, that certainly isn't complaining by any means, because I feel like I am truly lucky that I can do things that I really enjoy doing, things that I want to pursue in more detail, and still have people that are supporting me financially so I can do this for a living. We've all heard that saying that if you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. Okay, well, that probably isn't really true, because this is a lot of work and it feels like work, but it's work I want to do, and it's not the same as going somewhere and working for a paycheck where you got the boss looking over your shoulder the whole time. So there's no doubt I have a certain amount of creative freedom. I just have to balance that. I have to compromise a little bit. I have to think about, what do the viewers of the videos really want to see? What do the customers in the blacksmith shop really want? Making things that I really have fun making does no good if nobody ever buys those things. Now, on this channel, the John Switzer channel, I do have a little bit more creative freedom. This one is not the big channel. It's not the one I'm looking for to help support the blacksmith shop or pay my other bills. This one really is more just for the fun of it. Yes, I would love it if this hit 100,000 subscribers and started bringing in some real revenue. For the month of August, this channel brought in $45, so that's not bad. Well, that's just my thoughts on that subject, just something I'd been thinking of, and I thought I would share those thoughts with somebody, because that is one of the beauties of having a certain amount of creative freedom. You get to just do what you kind of feel like, and as I said on this channel, it's okay if I don't have 100,000 viewers. That's what this channel is all about. But for now, I got more chores to do. I got some more cleanup to do around here, put some more video stuff away. And then I've got video for the blacksmith shop I need to edit. I've got a video project I'm working on for the local historic society I've got to edit. And then I'm going to need to edit this video and try and make something out of it that I hope somebody's actually going to want to watch. I do hope you enjoyed it though. If you did, I'd love it if you give it a thumbs up. If you haven't done so already, I'd love it if you hit that subscribe button. Feel free to stick around, watch a few of my other videos. But then I hope you have time to get out, create something, do something fun, enjoy life, and we will see you for the next video.